Here's something you may not have learned in history class. North Carolina was an essential link in the Underground Railroad, the pre-Civil War network of people in safe houses that helped enslaved people escape their situation and ultimately to a life of freedom. The National Park Service recognizes 15 sites in the state that were part of the network to freedom, and that's more than any other state.
And Halifax County was a key piece of that network, sitting where it does on the Roanoke River and on the state line. Today, local leaders reinforced their connection to history, unveiling a visiting statue of the woman most often associated with the network, Harriet Tubman. WRAL's Brian Mims explains why this is a sort of homecoming.
I lay in the woods all day without food. The next evening, I reached Halifax Courthouse, and I then knew that I was near Virginia. I came to the Roanoke and crossed it in the midst of a violent storm. I was quoting from the narrative of James Williams, an enslaved man who had come a long way from that plantation in Alabama. We, as a nation, have come a long way, but the rivers are still wide. Around here, the river is the Roanoke. Around here in Halifax County in the Old South, there were more freed African Americans than any other county in the state. They offered safe houses, provisions, directions for runaway enslaved people headed north to freedom.
We can take note that we are at the foundation of the Underground Railroad and the quest for freedom for everyone.
The rivers are wide still. Sculptor Wesley Wofford of Asheville had just finished the project when the cross currents of 2020 rocked us.
The pandemic hadn't happened, George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, like all of this stuff.
It was the stuff of a nation still on a journey. Now look at this bronze statue of Harriet Tubman, foot forward, leaning in, clutching the hand of a fearful child.
Harriet Tubman was the Underground Railroad.
Born enslaved in Maryland, Harriet Tubman, in swamps not unlike these, led more than a dozen missions. The sculptor crafted this piece for a client in Texas, its permanent home. But he knew this stoic and heroic gaze had to journey into America.
It was too important and too timely to not. I'm just honored to amplify her message in 2021.
The words of Harriet Tubman now, as she first crossed into Pennsylvania, into freedom. I looked at my hands to see if I was the same person. The sun came like gold through the trees, and I felt like I was in heaven. Brian Mims, WRAL News, Halifax County.
Wow, it's just unfathomable to think of the courage that you had to have to seek what you knew you deserved. Unbelievable. Well, the sculpture of Harriet Tubman will be on display at the historic Halifax Visitors Center through April 18th. From there, it goes to New York and then will travel throughout the year. To learn more about North Carolina's role in the Network to Freedom, check out our app. WRAL's Hidden History series explores the work abolitionists did in coastal communities. There's a focus on the town of Washington, where there's a museum dedicated to their efforts. You'll find this story paired with Brian's piece on WRAL.com or on the WRAL News app.